Troy Podcast with Austin Slowbird Swain and Terminator Xavier Cox.
So, Brandon, I've known you for a little bit. I've only met you through the gym, and I know you as a teammate, but I don't really know you as like a person. So I feel like we should use this time in this podcast to try and get to know Brandon as much as we can.
Yeah.
So,
pretty lame, pretty boring.
No, I don't think so. So, have you always lived in Tennessee?
Yeah, well, I moved for a little bit for work and stuff like that, but born and raised.
Born and raised in Nashville, or?
No, I'm from Murfreesboro, but
Okay.
I lived in McMinnville for about 10 years, I want to say.
Okay.
And then I moved to Lebanon probably 5 years ago.
Did you go to school out in Murfreesboro?
I did. I went to Riverdale. I saw your hoodie.
Dude, that's crazy. I didn't know that.
Small world.
See, this is why I'm glad we did this. 'Cause I would have never known that.
Riverdale was fun, but it was also scary because you never knew what was going to happen. Like, there was always police there, gangs. You just never knew if someone got stabbed or shot. But it was fun. The breakfast was good.
Yeah, dude.
They had Hardee's biscuits, man. I used to go in there with like $10, and back then $10 was a lot.
Yeah, I hear like the two sides of people. Like, I don't know what year it was, but it was after because of Michelle Obama. After she got in the office, like when she like changed like all the food in the cafeteria and stuff like that, so they weren't allowed to put like salt.
The vending machines didn't have all the good snacks in it anymore.
Yes, my last year in high school, they brought in those diet drinks, and they killed me. I was like, you couldn't just let me get my last year.
Did you go to middle school and elementary school?
No, I went there in McMinnville.
Okay.
And then I pretty much went to a different high school every year.
Okay.
We moved a lot.
Did you do any like extracurriculars or anything like that while you were in high school?
I did boxing. That was it. That was the only time I got to do sports. We just moved too much. I'm from a single parent home.
Mom or dad?
Mom. Dad, met him twice. Once when I was a kid, and then once right before he died. And then me and my mom never had a good relationship. And then my stepdad at the time was on drugs, so we never had money for bills and things like that. So me doing sports wasn't happening.
Yeah. Were you known, and you said you boxed in high school, were you known as like a fighter in school?
No, I kept it pretty down. I was a shy kid. I mean, I still kind of am. But no, I didn't really tell people. There was a few people there that did it. When we went to Nashville, we would box and get little medals and stuff. But
Did you box out in Murfreesboro?
No, it was in Laverne.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was in Laverne. Yeah, I don't even remember what the name of the place was. But
what got you into the boxing part of it?
I was a big WWE fan, and I remember my favorite wrestler was The Undertaker. He always had like the Strike Force gloves, and I started really liking fighting, and I was a big Tyson fan. And Muhammad Ali was my guy though. I remember I read like his book and everything. I was just crazy, and it just got me so pumped. And then the UFC came along, but it was the UFC in the golden days where everybody kind of had their style and stuff. And then Rampage Jackson came in, and Forrest Griffin, all those guys, and I was a big wrestling fan. So when Brock Lesnar went over, I was like, I'm all in now. Let's do this.
Can you remember the first MMA fight you ever saw?
I want to say it was the first one I ever watched live. I want to say it was Rampage Griffin. So it was a while ago.
I saw them on their podcast. Forrest just recently went on Rampage, and they were discussing, because I haven't watched that fight, or at least if I've seen it, it's been a long time, but I heard it was a little bit controversial.
Yeah.
What would you say?
Yeah, it was controversial, but I feel like it's
that's hard to like freaking balance, like, because it's like there's so many fights and like how loose the rule system is.
Right.
Yeah, and it was a different time too. But I have more. I guess it's kind of like when you're watching fights before you become a fan and do it yourself, and then you do it, and then you watch it back, and you're like, okay, I see where the judges were going there. Because when you're just a fan watching it, you're like, you're just seeing everything your guy's doing, and you're putting it over. It's like, dude, this is awesome.
Bias.
Yeah, and then when you're watching, you're like, oh man, he was really good at like jabbing him or whatever, or just controlling the ground. So it's different now.
Right. So out of high school, what was your plans after you graduated and stuff?
I always wanted just to have a family, honestly. Everybody always had big goals for stuff. I just wanted to have a family because I never really had one growing up. I was the firstborn biracial kid in my family, and it wasn't a really good time to be mixed when I was growing up. My family was kind of very racist, I guess to say, and You know, eventually it changed as I got older.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they were just kind of stuck with me. But
Right.
yeah, I always wanted to have that good family because, you know, I didn't have a good mom and dad growing up,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately. But now that I'm older and I'm a parent, like with my mom, I understand more now. It's
Right.
like I can be more forgiving of certain things, but
Mm-hmm.
you know how me and my wife are is just totally different.
Right.
So I always wanted to have a family, and you know, I think that kind of held me back a lot because I didn't do things like you guys are fighting now in your 20s. You know, I missed all that because I was chasing the wrong girl, and
That's it. It'd be like that.
it took years off my life. It really did. But you know, thankfully, thank the Lord, I found the wife for me, had a family, and now I'm trying to make up for lost time. That's why I'm in the fight game. You know.
And we don't have to spend too much time on this if you don't want to. But I've met your girl, but I don't really like. I haven't had too many conversations with her. Like, how did y'all meet and stuff?
So we actually met in middle school. It was 7th grade. I still remember the day I saw her. She got on the bus, and it was just like in the movies, it was like slow motion, you know. And yeah, I told her. I didn't tell her because I was too scared to speak to her. But I just in my head, I was like, one day I'm gonna marry that girl,
Heck
you
yeah.
know. And we stayed in touch, and then somehow right before COVID, we met up and we decided we was gonna make this work. She lived in Ohio at the time, and COVID happened. We didn't see each other for 2 years, but we stayed in contact. And then we made it work.
Heck
She
yeah.
ended up going to college in Lebanon at Cumberland, and she moved in, and here we are. We did everything backwards. We moved in, we had kids, and then we got married. So
Yes.
we did everything backwards. But yeah, man, we known each other for a very, very long time.
That's really nice.
So, yeah.
It's always nice like hearing relationships like those,
Really.
like especially like when you like met younger or whatever,
Yeah.
and then like how it like transforms. Just
Yeah, and for us, she always wanted to travel, and me and her had different goals when we were younger, so it really helped that we had that time to do stuff. You know, it really helped our relationship now because we grew up.
Right.
We grew up together, so.
So you graduate high school.
Yep.
You get the family that you wanted.
Yep.
And how do you end up finding kickboxing, Muay Thai, and getting involved with that?
So I got to give that one to my wife as well. She signed us up for a 3-week trial.
Okay.
And it
At
was-
Phoenix?
At Phoenix, yeah. Of all gyms, she picked the right one.
Did she just
and,
look up on Safari?
Mhm.
Look up
We did. We moved to Mount Juliet. She wanted to live there for a year. We found this nice house. It was before we bought a house. And we could not afford this house at the time, but we were just determined we were going to make it work. And we did because we were trying to start our business, and we got that going later on. But we lived in Mount Juliet for a year. She was like, we're going to do this. You know, we're both 30 now. Let's do something active. And I was like, okay, well, I've always wanted to do some type of, martial arts. And she's big on self-defense because her worst fear is being kidnapped.
Right.
Like, if you ever go anywhere with her, the second you get out of the car to pump gas, she's locking the door. It's just instantly. So she signed us up for it, and then I fell in love with it. And I think because at the time there was just more guys than girls, she just kind of didn't want to do it anymore.
Right.
But yeah, I fell in love with it. I was like, I'm going to give this a shot. So I got in shape. I was 230 when I walked in. I was that guy who was just lifting weights all the time. Like, I'm good. I'm whatever. And then I went in there and I went with this older guy. I don't even remember his name, but he basically handled me like I was a child. And I was like, oh boy. And that hooked me though. It was like, I want to go back. Keep going, keep going.
Did you say who was it?
I don't remember his name, but I haven't seen him in a while. But he handled me, like, he was nice to me, but he still, like, it made it, I felt helpless. And then I just fell in love with it. So I was like, all right, I'm going to do this. Let's do this. And then PKB came around. I did that. I'm currently still undefeated in PKBs. I did 2. I gotta plug that. So, done a few jiu-jitsu tournaments. I think I've won as many as I've lost, though. I've gotten, like, second place or whatever. And, I'm loving it.
Yeah.
My goal right now is just to win this kickboxing belt. Because I got a title fight coming up, and then I want to...
When and where is that at?
It's in Revolver, Cookeville, May 16th, 4 weeks out. And then next year I want to do MMA.
So you've had 2 kickboxing fights so far, right?
Yes.
And this will be your 3rd.
This will be my 3rd.
And
Already got a title fight.
Yeah, dude. How does it? Has the training been different, knowing that you're gonna have 2 extra rounds, or do you?
Yeah, I didn't really train for the other 2. To be honest with you, I let my life get too crazy because it was like the peak of when our business was trying to launch.
Mm-hmm.
So it was crazy.
Right.
And I think I trained 4 weeks for the first one. The second one, I trained 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And that one really changed me, though. Even though I won, I didn't like how I looked physically, and I didn't like how my cardio was. And just watching it back, I was like, I could have ended this fight in the first round. But, I was just so out of shape. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to really do this right. So I started a 9-week training camp.
Heck yeah.
I called up Alex immediately that weekend. Was like, hey, I need this program. This is what I'm doing. Can you put something together for me? He did. I got Anne-Marie involved. She took care of my cardio technique. And then I got Eric to do private lessons with me so I could just really get better. And I feel so much better. Like physically, I feel the best I've felt in a long time.
And to trying to piggyback off of those 3 people. So you got Alex with your nutrition, basically?
Yeah, so he takes care of my weightlifting and what I eat. And then Ann takes care of my cardio and my technique. And then Eric just gracefully beats the hell out of me.
Yeah.
But yeah, he helps me with how I want to do it. He makes you really think because he's a big chess player. So he's always looking for things what do they do when you do this? What do you do when they do that? I'm sure he knows how many steps he takes when he fights. He is just so into it. So he's really good to have because he thinks, and I feel like he has so much knowledge, he just struggles to get it out because, there's so much going on in there at all times. It's I know he probably knows how many times he took a breath that day. He's just so aware of everything.
He's so methodical with everything. He's so calculated.
He could be a cold calculating killer if he wanted to. The world is so thankful that he does not like the feeling of hurting people. Because if he did, I'm telling you, there would be a lot of bodies later.
I still have this video. I'm going to plug it. So roll the clip after what I'm about to say. But Eric has this video of him subbing Brandon Valentine and John Kelly at the same time.
What are you doing?
What do you mean? What are you doing? Wow. Wow. This is happening. This is happening. No, I'm not hopping in there with him. Well, there was 2-on-1 and he subbed them both. But so you got Alex. Alex is taking care of your food. What does he have you eating?
So it's a lot of a Chipotle bowl mostly with rice and lettuce, and then I'll have a Big Mac bowl with rice and lettuce and with the Big Mac sauce. And it's actually really good. It's very very lean. I can have yogurt and things like that, but that's probably the hardest part is dieting for me because I have 3 children and a wife, and I'm the cook of the house. So they're all eating potatoes and pizza, and I'm over here meal prepping, eating a 3-day-old meal that I made. It's
and what's what's the goal of what you're trying to get out of the nutrition? Are you trying to get bigger and stronger or more lean?
So in my last fight, I just looked terrible. I just looked like melted ice cream, and I hated it. I was like, I got to put some muscle on because I was always a big weightlifting guy, because I was a WWE fan. Those guys were big, so I was like, all right, if I want to be big, and I got to eat. I got to eat this. I got to lift heavy weights, and then. Now it's when you're training for kickboxing, it's different. You want to be strong, but you want to be as strong as you can be and be as small as you can be. You want your muscle to be lean muscle, and it's, because you got to go 5 rounds, And when you're 32 years old, that sounds terrible.
Right.
So just eating the right food, realizing, I realize now that I haven't been eating enough, because I haven't. I've been tracking my macros. And I realized, dude, I feel so much better because I've been eating. I've been recovering. We're in there all the time. We're lifting weights. Things going on with life. You gotta put that fuel back in. You gotta hydrate. You gotta get your macros right, and it's hard, especially eating healthy food. You know, you can go to McDonald's and eat 1,500 calories. And
It's easy to
Yeah.
get too, so it's like it's
Yeah,
hard to stay disciplined.
it really is. So that's been the hardest part for me.
Are you just drinking water too, or do you have like protein shakes you drink?
I do protein shakes, and then mostly water with electrolytes.
Okay.
I'll drink a gallon a day. I just go to Kroger and buy the gallon and just drink it that way. I kept buying the little cups that had the time I should be at, but I kept breaking them, so I just stopped.
So you got Alex on the nutrition.
Yeah.
Anne Marie is taking care of your weightlifting.
She's
The
taking
cardio.
care of my
Cardio.
cardio.
Okay.
So she has me doing these different phase things where I do my sprints and all that kind of stuff, and that's probably the worst part for me is I hate cardio.
Yeah,
I hate
cardio,
it.
but you need it.
But I need it, man. It's been my biggest downfall in a lot of my fights, and this time around, I want to make sure I have the gas tank to go.
Yeah, the thing about conditioning too, and I've listened to this one podcast called John McCarthy. It's with John McCarthy and Josh Thompson.
Yeah.
And one time John McCarthy was talking about there's so many variable things that can happen in a fight, and you can only control so much.
Yeah.
And he listed out 3 things, but the first thing he said was conditioning. And as soon as he said that, a light bulb went off in my head, and I didn't even think about the other 2 things because it's like, yeah, that is one thing you can control is how good your gas tank is.
Yeah. And it's actually thanks to this guy that I'm doing as much cardio because he's running all these miles and we're competing with each other. I think we're at like 54 miles already or something like that.
50
This month?
Yeah.
My knee's hurting right now.
Yeah, tell me about it. It'll be like 100 before it's over and done with. But, it's things like that because I've always needed someone to kind of push me. You know, when I was at my best weightlifting, me and my buddy were just neck and neck all the time. So it's good that we have that competitive rivalry.
Yeah.
So it's good for you, and it's good to have a good team behind you because I've been to some competitions where the coach is just like, man, basically telling this guy he sucks.
Yeah,
It's like, you don't want to hear that.
Right. No, you don't.
Like, we went to Chicago and did the ADCC, and my first guy was a guy from Tennessee.
Really?
And his coach was so mad because I beat him, and he was like, we drove all the way here to Chicago ADCC just for us to go against a Tennessean, and you lost. Like, I don't know. I'd be like, oh man, I'm going home right now.
Yeah, dude.
Like, so it's good to have a good team. Like, Eric's really good, Corey's really good. I don't really get to see Kevin that much, but he's pretty chill guy. I like him. My wife really liked him too when he ran the women's class. So, we have a good team, thankfully. And then you guys, y'all always correcting me because I've learned this fight camp.
It's skipping practice.
Yeah, and it's stupid too. Like, you're in the fight game, but you might not know how to kick.
Right.
Like, you've helped me with my kicks, and punches and things, and I've been trying to slip more like you do, and it's like, man, like your brain knows it, but your body just doesn't want to do it. It's like, what are we doing here?
To match up with each other, like getting all in sync.
It sounds crazy. Like, it's not even complicated because when coach tells us this and then you figure it out, it's like, man, all I had to do was exactly what he said. Why am I making it way more complicated than it need to be? And that's just me. I do that all the time. He can tell me to take 2 steps and I'm like doing them kind of funny because I'm like, it can't be that simple, but it is, But yeah, this camp has been different. I've kind of gone through all emotions.
Yep.
It's kind of like a title fight now. It's like the nerves are different. It's kind of like getting married and then going through a breakup and then, remarrying all at the same time. That's like the emotions. Like, I've been here. It's just,
and it'll always be like that.
Yeah, and I don't think I'll ever get used to that, man. It's just hard for me to like operate on my day-to-day life knowing I have a fight coming up. Because the second I go to sleep, the last thing on my mind was my opponent.
Right.
And then when I wake up, the first thing on my mind is my opponent. And it's like, it's been there all day, and I run a child care, and sometimes I just space out.
Do you do things to ever like try to distract you from the nerves?
Yeah,
Just try to stay busy.
I try to stay busy. I try to relax and watch YouTube videos. That's kind of my guilty pleasure. I do it occasionally, and then I turn on fighting videos.
Right.
I'm watching Cleo Roundtree or somebody, and I'm just thinking about my opponent again, and I'm watching his fights, and I'm just like, man, I just can't get this out of my head. My wife actually hates this, and she wants me to quit because of it, because it just takes over my life. And then when she's talking to me, all I'm thinking about was, man, she's right in the right spot for a good leg kick. my kid comes up to run and play, and like I'm sprawling on him and stuff. So it's like it's I have an obsessive personality, so I can't. I'm the type of person that if I take my foot off the gas pedal, it's so hard for me to get it back on. But once I'm on the gas pedal, I don't want to let go.
Right.
So it's a love-hate relationship that I have with fighting, but this is my last chance to really do it. So I'm giving it my all.
So going back to like talking about your fight camp and stuff, what has been some of the like your favorite things you've done this camp, and some of your least favorite things you've done this camp?
Favorite things. I think it's getting to know Eric more, getting to know Anne-Marie more, and you guys like really, I guess, building the camaraderie, the brotherhood we have, getting to really know each other more on a personal level, and because we all want to see each other win,
100%.
And that's very rare in today's world. I don't feel like a lot of people want to see each other win. They feel like they're failing if you're succeeding type deal, and we don't have that there. So I really appreciate that. I appreciate seeing me grow as a fighter, just because I can feel when I'm sparring that I'm getting better, and it's a good feeling. The thing I hate the most is just having to constantly be on the schedule of eating this, doing that, and then trying to deal with my wife and my kids and work stuff. So that's probably been the worst part. And Alex has me doing these, what is it, the bike, what is that called?
Assault bikes?
Yeah, where you do like 20 seconds as hard as you can.
Tabata rounds?
Dude, I hate that.
Yeah.
I screenshotted that to him and I sent it to him. I was like, I effing hate this. And he was like, yeah, I know, buddy. Like, that stuff sucks. He has me doing 5 rounds of that. I was like, dude. So,
yeah, I've done a couple of those.
Yeah, I dread it. I've always hated cardio, but that's why my cardio's been terrible. So seeing my cardio get better this time around has really been my big thing that I feel like I accomplished. So if nothing else, I know I have better cardio. So
Okay.
So that's really good. So going into that, what weight class are you fighting at? How much are you cutting to get there? And I know you're talking about like your cardio. Has your cardio, or like you cutting weight, affected your cardio on your previous fights?
Yes, for sure, because there was a time where I lost 15 pounds in one day, and I don't ever want to do that again. I did the Chael Sonnen MMA bath, where you rub all the stuff on you, and you get like 3 bags of salt and the boiling hot water from the stove. It was horrible, and I hate that. Won't do that again. That was my first fight. This time around, I feel like I put on too much muscle in the beginning, because I walk around at 200, but I got up to 210 because of how much lifting I've been doing.
And the weight class for this title fight
is
is
185.
Okay.
So yeah, it's
right now I'm sitting between, I want to say 197 and 199. So I'm doing pretty good because we're 4 weeks out. But the weight cutting for me has always been the hardest part, because it's really hard to stay consistent and then get those.
Are you going to
last
do
few
another
pounds.
water load cut this time?
Yeah, I'll probably load up on water, and it seems to
but
work
not
the
15
best.
pounds load up.
No, I won't be doing that again. That is the worst. And anybody that hasn't ever done that, let me tell you, it sucks. It really
It's good for the
sucks.
soul though.
It's good for you mentally, because you're really torturing yourself. Really, because I went 48 days without food and water, or 48 hours without food and water. 48 days I probably went. 48 hours without food and water, and I remember sitting in the sauna and the water dripping from the sauna looked delicious. That's how dehydrated I was. I was like, dude, I could drink from that nasty little tube of sweat right there. Like, that's how thirsty I was. It was like I was stuck out in an island alone or something. It was horrible. So this time around, I'm doing things the right way. I got the right people helping me, so I'm excited. Really am.
So you're going into this fight. Do you know who your opponent is?
I do. His name's Keenan. He's an older guy, but he's been fighting a lot of younger guys, 20-year-old guys. I think DJ told me his record was 1-1. That is definitely not true, because he has like 5 fights on YouTube.
Promoters are infamous for that.
Yeah, this guy.
That's okay. That's more film, dude.
Yeah, I mean, he has a lot of film out there. He's been doing it since he was 43. I think he's 47 now. So he's
pretty.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
I find that like kind of inspiring, because people are like, yeah, I'm 30 years old. Not saying like anything about you guys or anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm 30 years old. It's just too late for me to start.
Yeah.
This guy's 40 years old, fighting at 47 or started at like 43.
I just watched a Street Beef video last night. This
Street Beef,
this
I love it.
51-year-old knocked out like
Yeah.
this 30-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was throwing leg kicks.
it's never too late.
It's
It's never too late. This guy has actually inspired me though, because he started at 43. He's 47 now, and he's still doing it. Because I felt like I was too old. You know, I had my first fight at 30, and I was like, man, I'm too old to be doing this. So seeing him at 47, and he's a champion too. He's I think he fights for All or Nothing, and he's got the belt there. I think he normally fights at 170. So, I mean, even cutting that much weight, because he looks like a pretty stacked guy. Cutting that much weight at his age is a lot, because I hate it now. I can't imagine at 47. At 47, I better be sitting on that chair right there, drinking a beer, not caring
Right.
Yeah.
about fighting. I'll go coach.
Oh,
but-
God, I used to do that.
yeah, I used to do that back in my day, boy. Ding.
So, you said he has a lot of fights and stuff like that. How have you done a lot of like research on him, and like what have you picked up from his fights
Yeah.
that you've seen?
So I obsessed over him all weekend, because I was just going through the nerves in my own head all week, because I wasn't really able to train as much as I wanted to. So I now know like what his favorite punch is, what his favorite combo is. I know his best round. Like, I know how many times he blinks. Like, that's how much I was
Okay.
watching this guy. It went from me being like, oh, nervous, to me being like, okay, you know, like, let's go.
Now I know what you're bringing.
Let's go. Yeah. And I always say this, I always have to feel their first punch, because they're never going to hit you as hard as they do in the first round.
Right.
So once I get hit that first time, it's like, all right, let's go. You
Right.
know, I gotta get hit that one time just for me to like unlock and be like, let's do this.
Now, could you, trying to go back to maybe your first or second fight, what was it like just going through the whole process of having your first fight in a cage?
It was so crazy because my wife was there, and I realize now like I don't really want her to go to my fights, because it's just a distraction. Not that she's doing anything wrong. It's
Right.
just my brain is like, oh, my wife's there. You know, it's like I can't focus on what I'm doing. But it's crazy how when you get in a fight, you can tune out everybody except your opponent and your coach. It's like something out of a movie. You just kind of go through the motions. You can just hear that voice. But for me, it was so nerve-wracking, especially since I didn't fight till like 10 p.m. that night. But seeing everybody go up there and do their thing, and it just, my nerves were so bad. But once I put the gloves on, man, it was just like, I'm good
Was that
now.
your switch?
Yeah, it is. It's like when you're on a high ledge and you're about to jump, you're nervous. But once you jump, it's like, I already did it.
Right.
You know what to expect. So when I put the gloves on, man, that's when that
That's
other
your
side
switch.
comes out.
Yeah.
It's like, let's do it. Ain't no backing down now. So I'm ready to bring it, you know?
One thing I tried to talk to Damien about is sometimes I feel like going into your first fight might be easier mentally than it is going into fights after that.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, you obviously you know what you're getting into, but you kind of don't know what you're getting into until you just do it. And then the second time around, it's like you already know what it is, which makes it a whole different game.
Oh yeah, especially learning like how a leg kick feels. I remember my first fight, I was on crutches for a week because my leg was so tore up. But it's like knowing it's like, oh brother, we're about to go through this. And then I also feel like the competition as you advance gets better too. So it's always that. And then you have more footage out there to study, and then like the guy I'm fighting, he has a nice fan base, so he's gonna be bringing a lot of
That's
people,
good.
But that also happened in my last fight, the guy brought his mom and everybody, and I just felt horrible because I know I just sent her son to the hospital, so it's like
That's something I kind of enjoy.
yeah, 20-year-old me would enjoy that too, but more older me now, it's just like, man, I don't really want to hurt nobody too
I always
bad,
like to think
but-
it's like everyone's disrespecting. Like I don't cut a lot of weight. I'm like, you made me cut these 2 pounds, but because you made me cut them, I'm gonna make you hurt. So it's like
that's what motivates me. And when I get to the fight day, it's like I just tortured myself. I just came from fasting for 48 hours. I ain't had no water. Like, you did this to me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hurt you for that. But then it's like what I love about fighting though is like you could hate your opponent, but once y'all are done afterwards, there's just so much respect you have for one another. There's just nothing like it. Like it's hard to explain. Like my wife watches it, she's like, why is this a sport? And it's really like, I don't know how to explain it to you, but it's like when we have issues and we just able to throw hands, like there's just so much respect you can have for someone afterwards. because whatever you went through, whatever you were feeling, they were also feeling that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's different because I don't really know this guy personally, but at the same time, he's coming to make me his highlight reel.
Right.
So it's like I got to put you down.
Mm-hmm.
We can be friends afterwards.
Exactly.
But right now, I'm fighting for the belt. I don't know how many more opportunities I'm gonna get to fight for the belt. I don't want this belt. I need this belt.
Right.
This is my belt. It's coming home.
And is it the main event?
It is.
It should be.
Yeah.
So speaking of your belt, how do you plan, or would you like to share on how you plan winning your fights and the positions you will win and can win?
Yeah, I would say that I plan on
pretty much your game.
Dominating as much as I can. With him being an older fighter, I can only hope that eventually he starts to really slow down, and then I'll be able to really pick up the pace. I'm just so conflicted because there's me that wants to be nice and just put him down easy, and then there's me that wants to be vicious animal, like 2009 Randy Orton, where I'm just punting heads and things like that and leaving bodies. So it's I'm kind of going through that right now, but I do have a pretty good game plan, and I think I really want to try to end it as quickly as possible because I'm not getting paid. So,
right.
I'm not.
You don't get paid by the hour.
No, I don't. Let's finish it up and go home early. But I do want it. It is a lot more nerves knowing I'm the main event because I'm what everybody's waiting for. So you don't want to have a bad fight. The show. Yeah. So it's it's gonna be interesting to see what happens and the deal with all this because he's been a main event before. He's fought for a belt, won a belt.
Has experience.
Yeah. So this is my first time. So we're gonna see what happens. But I feel pretty confident.
That's awesome. So speaking of that, this is like a follow-up question I think. Who would you say your favorite fighter is?
I would have to go with Khalil Roundtree just because there's just something about him. He's who I would be if I never got married, I guess. Because he started late. He had issues with his weight, and he just loves the game. And he started out kickboxing. Now he's MMA, and he potentially could be an MMA champion soon. So we'll see what happens there. But him and Alex Pereira are pretty close. I lean more towards kickboxing because I've never been a wrestler. I've been a fan of wrestling, but I never got to do it. And if there's one art that I could learn, it would be wrestling. And I would say that to
Who's
anybody.
your favorite wrestler?
Favorite wrestler?
It could be any type of wrestling, just like...
I'd have to lean more back to WWE, but he's also a legitimate wrestler, and I have to go with Kurt Angle. If that guy got in the UFC, man, ooh. Sheesh, he would have hurt some people bad.
I bet. Yeah.
Kurt Angle's a tough dude.
Yeah, I mean, he won an Olympic gold medal with a broken neck. What are you going to do to that guy?
Right.
The same guy who cuts his spaghetti with scissors. Have you seen that video?
Yeah. He's a great meme. I love that meme of him just staring outside with his eyes. It's it's so relatable.
So Khalil Roundtree is your favorite fighter. Would you say you fight like him, and/or that's the style you try to emulate when you fight, or just the people get a better understanding of your fighting style?
Yeah, he's a guy I would want to emulate as far as his stand-up because he's so aggressive. I mean, he has the nasty little inside kicks. There's not a lot of fighters that like to kick on the inside for reasons we've seen before. That's the easiest way to snap your ankle or your leg and completely, but there's just something about him. He's just so aggressive, and he's just so in there. But then you listen to him talk, and he's just the nicest guy ever. It's just.
He seems like such a cool person.
Yeah, he's so cool. He's so chill. He's not one of those angry, violent people like maybe a John Jones. You can see his mean streak, but Khalil's just so chill. Alex Pereira is another one. He was my favorite champion for a while. He just recently lost a belt, but I'm a big Alex Pereira fan too. Him and Izzy's rivalry was a great one to watch.
It was.
I got to go back and watch their kickboxing fights and stuff like that. So I feel like that was Izzy's last mountain to climb, and now he's just kind of, satisfied. So let me ask y'all this. Do y'all feel like now being in the fight game that y'all have this goal you want to hit, and then once you hit it, you don't know what you're going to do afterwards? Kind of like an Izzy, for instance. I feel like his goal was to beat Alex Pereira, and once he did, he was never the same.
Stagnated.
Yeah, Conor McGregor, he wanted that big check. He got it. Now he's never been the same. So do you feel like that's something that all fighters might have?
Alright, so this is actually a question I kind of love answering. This is because it fires me up.
Yeah.
So I feel like when I set a goal, I don't know if you guys ever heard the phrase, don't shoot for the stars, shoot past it. Just in case you miss, you can fall on the star. Or
Yeah.
Shoot for the
star.
moon, so in case you miss, you end up with the stars.
I don't know which one's higher.
It's his quote. It's his quote.
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to
But-
help. Sorry.
Anyway, so it's like I feel like any goal you set that seems achievable, like you can have your short term goals if like you're achieving or whatever. Any goal that's like short term is achievable, but it's like a short term goal is your long term goal. It's like, okay, I want to beat this one guy. And it's like people do that and just don't do anything else. It's like your motivation goes away. It makes it harder to like stay on your track of discipline. Your accountability goes out the window or whatever. So like, if I set myself a goal, I always try to I feel it's best we set unrealistic goals.
Mm-hmm.
And having unrealistic goals gives me unrealistic expectations, but it gets me, I feel like, further in progress as somebody who just wants to beat this guy. Even if it doesn't take the same amount of time, it's like I beat the same guy as you, but since that wasn't my goal, I'm still going because that's just not something I wanted. I'm not satisfied with that. Being satisfied is something I technically like to disagree with. Like when I win like a match or whatever, I'm normally not satisfied just because I can do so much better. So
you're always worried about the next one. It's like, all right, we did this, let's go.
Yeah, trying to go like just whatever unrealistic goal that's there. That's the best. Like I don't know how technically to explain it, but just I don't want to be the guy that reaches every goal I ever came up with or whatever, and then I don't know what to do, then stop training, come up with other hobbies that aren't so good or whatever.
Yeah, it's the curse of every man, I feel like.
It's funny you asked this question because me and X, when we were on the way back from Indianapolis, the jiu-jitsu tournament, we literally had this conversation about this.
Yeah.
And just like he was saying, like, I think it's good if you set these lofty goals that you're probably not going to accomplish.
Yeah.
If you do, that's super awesome.
If people don't think you're delusional, you're not.
Your goal isn't high enough.
Yeah.
Like, personally, my little lofty goal is like, I want to become triple UFC champion. Is that going to happen? Probably not. But that would be like the ideal goal if I want to go for it. And even if I fell short and just became like the 125-pound champion, defended it a couple of times, that's still okay.
Has there ever been a triple UFC champion?
Not yet.
There's only been a double, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Who was the first double? Was it Brock Lesnar?
Randy Couture.
Randy Couture, that's right. Okay. Yeah, that's a steep goal, but
Oh,
think
yeah.
you could do
You get
it.
what we're saying, though?
Yeah,
Like,
yes.
where are we going along those lines?
Yeah, I think for me, it could just be because I'm older. It could be a little different, but I want to earn my retirement, I guess, and be able to do something that I feel like I'm proud of. It really goes back to just having kids. I had daughters and I had a son, and my son, it made things a lot different. Because with your daughters, you nurture, you protect. Your son, you want to set the bar so that he has something to do,
Mm-hmm.
So my goal for me is to be a world champion, in jiu-jitsu, and I feel like I can do it.
100%.
But I have to really push myself to do it, because for me personally, not having a father, I always feel like I'm looking for that dad to be like, you did a good job,
Mm-hmm.
but I know I'll never receive that. So it's like I want to be that for my son. So now I'm trying to set the bar because I'm thinking about him. It's like one day, you're going to take this and you're going to make it even better, I might not be UFC champion, but if I'm a world champion, then he has to really strive to be something more.
Yes, someone like good to look up to.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like I need to do something that really matters, and that's kind of what keeps me going. I say it's a love-hate relationship with fighting. I hate it while I'm doing it, but the second my fight's over, all I'm thinking about is the next one.
Right.
It's like, man, I can't wait to do this again, because there's just nothing like it. Because you're not really fighting your opponent, you're fighting yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to be the best you can be, and the only person stopping you from that is yourself. Did you train enough? Did you run enough? Did you eat right?
That's one thing I like about combat sports is you get everything out of it you put in it.
Yeah.
The accountability side, it holds you to your standard of whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
So it's not like you get into this fight, it's like he was so much better than this. Like there's so much more you could have did that you didn't do. So it's like even when you like I lost my last MMA fight or whatever, it's like I don't know if I lost because he was better than me, but I could have definitely trained harder for that fight to have been in better positions than what I was in.
Yeah. And, you know, there's just sometimes, you know, the thing about fighting is you never know what you are that day. You know, you could be having a terrible day and then you go and win. You know, like every tournament that I had, I was sick or not feeling well and I won. And then there's times when I'm confident, I feel great, and I lose. It's like, man, you just never know what you is your best you know?
That's speaking from the question you asked us, basically. It's upstairs somewhere, written something down. I have it written somewhere. One of my goals, unrealistic goals, is I want to be able to beat the best people on my worst days. Like I'm talking like dominate the best people on my worst days, and that's honestly one of my goals.
Yeah.
Do you think that could help with the nerves? If you think about it, it's like on some days you could feel good and lose, and on some days you could feel bad and win. So it's like, should we even put nerves into the result? Because it's like usually when you show up to the tournament or show up to the fight, it's like whatever's going to happen is probably already set. So why even worry about what's going to happen? I mean, you just got to go out there and live it.
Yeah, I was trying to think. Worst case, something bad happens. But is that going to happen, one? And two, there's also the best case, which everything good happens.
Yeah.
And usually any scenario you make up in your head usually doesn't happen, at least in my experience.
Yeah.
Like anything, if I like think like, oh, I'm going to get knocked out, or like go into a jiu-jitsu tournament, this guy's going to do an Imanari roll and get to a leg lock immediately, it usually never goes how I think it will.
And I feel like that goes back to what I was saying. You're always fighting against yourself, because my problem is with my opponents is I make them out to be the baddest boogeyman of all time. Like, you would think talking to me that John Wick was coming to get me and I just killed his dog. Like, that's how I do all of my opponents. You know, and then I'm always looking to see who they are because I want my boogeyman to have a face. And then I have to like go through that, and then it's like, okay, you know what? I'm tired of feeling this way. I'm tired of feeling like a bitch. I'm gonna lock in and get this done. Like, you're coming for me, I'm gonna make you earn it. So you're always really competing with yourself, because you could be very confident and be too arrogant, and you get armbarred or knocked out or something like that. And then you could have days where you just feel terrible. But, you know, the worst kind of animal to fight is a wounded animal. You know,
somebody that's back in the corner.
Yeah, they got nothing to lose. So, you know, I always feel like I'm the underdog in everything I do, you know.
That's a good mentality to have.
So that makes me have to work, because I don't ever feel like I'm talented. I feel like I'm kind of the guy that has to do twice as much. Like, you get what you get out of running, I have to run twice as much to get half of what you get. So I'm going to have to always work harder, you know, and that's just kind of my mindset. I don't know if y'all are a Dragon Ball Z fan, but I'm a big Vegeta guy, because that's who I feel like represents me. I'm never going to be the main character, so I'm always chasing that unrealistic goal, you know, of getting that big win, you know, and that's what keeps me going. So that's kind of my motivation. But I do like to have y'all's opinion on that, because we don't really know what other fighters think until we ask.
Exactly.
You know, you don't know what you're going through as a man as normal until you ask somebody.
And sometimes I feel like if you don't ask those questions, you'll think like, man, I'm crazy. Like, why am I thinking this stuff? And then you ask somebody and you're like, oh, I'm not crazy. We all feel this. Yeah,
the scariest thing to be as a man is to be stuck in your own head, and because your mindset is everything. Like, you have one of the best mindsets I've seen. You know, you seem very chill. Like, I'm getting to know
me and him
more.
were different.
Yeah. So, but
yeah, that's where it's at, the mindset.
Not in a bad way.
Yeah. I feel like you feel nerves closer to what I feel than what he does.
A lot of stuff you've said, I'm like, wow, I relate so much to what you're saying.
Yeah, it's
I feel like nerves are the best thing to have, though. It just, like, Tanner went, so it's like, I was like, I think I'm nervous. I'm like, I'm normally not nervous, but it's like, it's because you care. And I was like, maybe I do care a bit more about this than I normally do. It's like, nerves, it just really means you care, and that's...
Yeah, and for me, like, right now, this has been a terrible 10 weeks for me, because I care, I want to win this belt, and it's like, I haven't been able to live my life because of it, basically. it's ate me up that much. Like, it's been brutal. It's all I think about. It's all I want to do. I just want to get there, get it over with, you know. But I'm trying to like relax and enjoy it, be more
Find
chill,
a way to enjoy it.
Yeah, it's not easy though, cause like even when I'm just hanging out and going on a date with my wife, I'm thinking about fighting.
Right.
You know, I'm always eyeing the distance between me and the person in front of me. Like I'm always thinking about that. I'm shadow boxing. I probably look stupid because I'm like, I don't know if y'all do this where I call it image training, but when you're like driving or something, you're having a fight in your head.
Oh.
I do that all the
Do
time.
you do that and then you'll find
All
out
the
that you're
time.
going like 90?
Yes. Or my wife will be with me and I'll be driving crazy and she's just staring at me like I just did the worst thing and I'm like, what? And she's like, what are you doing?
I honestly had that kind of bad. Like I was in the car. I think it was Saturday or maybe like 2 weeks ago or something like that. But I was driving and I slipped into an uppercut and out of nowhere, and like they just stare at, like I got Helene and Grace in the car. They're just staring at me. I was like,
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
it's a habit.
I do that all the time and I look so stupid. Like I'll just be somewhere, I think I'm alone. I'll be like, and then my wife will come around the corner. She's like, what are you doing? Like, or I'll be in the car and I'll swerve slightly because I'm like slipping a punch. She's like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, this is why I shouldn't be driving. So,
I'm a danger to society.
Yeah.
During a fight camp, I think it'd be nice to have somebody drive you around because I feel what you're saying. Like I'll be thinking about a fight and then that gas pedal, I'm just like gripping the steering wheel super hard.
And then there's times at the daycare where I gotta fill in and like all these kids are coming in me and like my fight or flight has just been so bad
Sit
lately.
across.
So all I'm thinking about is like slipping, teeping, rolling. Like I'm like, hey kids, I'm kind of dangerous to y'all right
So
now.
like some of them Jonathan Haggerty Tucson kids.
How many toddlers do you think you could take on at once? Actually, don't answer that question.
You got me thinking now.
Yeah.
It's like.
So what? Do you have plans for after this fight? Like, what's the future look like?
Right now I'm going into this fight as if it's my last, but I already know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna win. When I win this belt, I'm gonna be like, let's go get another belt. So
or
it's
defend
like,
it? Or
yeah, it's like, let's defend this belt. Or, you know, Agogi sent me a friend request, and now All or Nothing sent me a friend request. So it's like the more I want to get out of it, the more I'm getting pulled back in. So it's like, so it'll be me talking to my wife, kind of seeing how she feels. I know I'm definitely going to take some time off because I just did this fight back to back. So I'm definitely going to take some time off, enjoy the summer a little bit, and then we'll kind of play it by ear there. But
So do you know? I know you mentioned MMA earlier.
yeah.
Do you know if you want to stay like do another kickboxing fight after, or do you want to? Is that when you want to transition to MMA?
My original plan was to make this year all about kickboxing and just do a few big jiu-jitsu tournaments, and then next year was going to be just MMA.
So next year getting into MMA.
Yeah, I really want to train for it and be prepared. So I want to kind of start towards fall time, really training MMA. You know, because my striking will be good. Work more on my jiu-jitsu, my grappling, because there's jiu-jitsu and then there's MMA jiu-jitsu.
100%.
It's a lot.
I'm glad you know.
Those
that.
are two different like,
Yeah.
sports by themselves.
Yeah, it's like, you know, you don't want to be in closed guard in MMA jiu-jitsu, but closed guard and regular jiu-jitsu works great for me because it's like Kimura, you know, but it's hard to Kimura somebody when they're punching you in the face.
Right.
So it's like I really want to be smart because I don't plan on getting hit in the head much longer. You know, I'm 32 now. By 36, I'm probably going to be done with that side and just focus on jiu-jitsu. So I know I will do jiu-jitsu. I'm probably till the day I die. I'll compete for that, but for striking, I'm here for a good time, not a long time. But I would love to tell y'all that I want to be Thanos and collect belts in every... Because I don't know if anyone's done that. Has anyone ever won belts in all the amateur fight leagues?
In Tennessee, I don't know of anybody.
Yeah. So it's like...
I know that's what Michael Bisping did out in England. He went around and was winning all the belts. Any promotion he could find, he just wanted to be the champ.
Yeah.
Bryce Warner, I actually kind of respect the way he went about it. Like, and, I mean, he didn't get all the belts. I know he was like the Aries champion or whatever, but he freaking had some guy flying from... Where'd he fly in?
England.
England, yeah. He flew in from England, fought the number 3 guy from England or something like that.
Wow.
Number 1 and 2 guy were ducking them, but like he was chasing like the pound for or not pound for pound, those weight class rankings, and like just trying to fight those like the highest level guys.
Yeah.
Like fought in I think it was Florida
Yeah, he had multiple belts, but they were from different states.
Yeah.
He would go to like a promotion
like
at
the
another
Danos
state and
of
win their belt.
Yeah, for me, a perfect idea would be to win this belt, then drop down another weight class, win that belt, and then transition. Maybe go to.
You want to go up?
Yeah,
I, 205?
I do, but I want to enjoy being able to make the cut while I can because
Okay.
you know I know as I get older that weight cut's gonna be harder, and I would do well at 205. I feel like because that's more my natural weight. So that's the goal for MMA is to do 205. So right now I just want to take advantage of what youth I have left and make these weight cuts because I'm not doing that stuff in another 2 years. I ain't doing it. So I just want to win as many belts as I can in kickboxing at that weight. Maybe drop down one more time, and then you know just focus on MMA. So that's kind of my long-term goal.
And do you have like how many fights you want to do with that, or just you just want to be able to say like
that
I
belt.
did it?
I'm right now. I feel like I have nothing to lose, so it's like I just want to go in wherever I can, grab the belt, jump the barricade, blow the promoter a kiss, and just be gone. That's kind of my mindset of thinking. But the competitive in me is like you gotta defend each belt at least once. So
Trying to think of all the promotions. There's Aries, XFA,
Dude, there's so many. Like this guy.
All or Nothing,
yeah, there's a new Muay Thai one.
Agogi.
Oh yeah.
Top 10.
Top 10.
Yeah, it's the.
Is the new one you're fighting?
It's the top 10 one.
Okay, so
That's
yeah.
5.
Dude, there's like
Just
10,
right
this
there.
guy.
I know there's more.
I met at a PKB. His name's Kane Lepre, something like that. It's a pretty cool name. But he came in. He told me about like these couple different fight promotions. He lived in Thailand for a couple years. Came back, fought for this fight promotion. He's like, bro, you should fight for this. I was like, who's that? And then he's like, just listed a bunch of promotions and stuff like that. He's like, yeah, you do pretty good in this promotion. I was like,
Yeah, but some of them are in Chattanooga. That's a travel.
yeah, Tennessee's so long, so it's like all the like even the smaller ones. You got the bigger ones,
And then you go to Kentucky, and somehow they're more southern than we are. I never understood that.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense.
And sometimes with these promotions, like I haven't heard of Primal Combat in forever, and they used to be a big promotion down here.
They were supposed to have a fight last fall, and I was supposed to fight on that card. I didn't turn down the fight, but I didn't ask a promoter to fight for his card because I was supposed to fight on the Primal card, and I didn't know when that was going to be. It never happened. I was like, dang, I missed the fight.
And I don't know how y'all feel about this, but I almost feel like I want the promoter to ask me because that tells me I'm entertaining enough for you to want me there.
Right.
I don't ever want to be like, hey man, can you give me a fight? You know, because I've not really ever asked for a fight. My very first fight with XFA, coach sent out all of us a message early, I think it was late at night. It was like, hey, I got this, and I saw 185. I was like, run it, let's do it.
Yeah.
You know, and then I got asked to come back to do this next fight, and then by the time, before I even left the building that day, DJ came to me and was like, I have you a title fight. Let me know when you want it. And I was like, give me 2 months and I'm in. You know?
I feel like fighting is kind of like how like wrestling is. So it's like wrestling, you don't like, you have coaches that are there like, hey, come check out my school or whatever, trying to offer you stuff like that. But you don't have like all the big schools like, hey, come wrestle for me, like do this. It's more like you have to go to them. So that's kind of how I look at fighting. Is like, I mean, it's a bit different because like you can fight for one promotion and just like dip and like, when are you coming back to fight for me? I feel like that's one of the best feelings. Like you do something good for their promotion, they're able to promote their promotion because of you. All your highlights, all the fights you've done for that promotion or whatever, even if it's just one fight, you can ghost them. You see him on the street one day. It's like, when are you gonna fight for me again?
It is a good feeling to like they want you, you know, and then like especially when you get in the main event, it's like wow, you want me in your main event? Like I'm your, because we're not getting really paid for this, but it's like people are there for the main event. You know, they want to see a good fight. So when you know you're that guy, it's a whole different feeling. Right?
So
it's a whole different feeling.
Would you rather fight earlier in the fight card or later?
Early. I have a bedtime, and if I can get in, get out, I'm good. Because it's like once you get there, they're asking you to come in early, but you're sitting there forever. They got to get their stream to work. Somebody's missing. People don't show up. I'd rather be first on the card, get it done, and go home. Like I'm not paid by the hour. Let's just do it. I don't really care. Like I want to get in, get it done, and be done with it. Because it's like I'm killing myself for 6 to 8 weeks to get to this moment. Let's get it over with.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I'll come in with my gloves on. Let's go. You know, that's just me personally. I know the whole main event thing is a good feeling to have. But
Save
at the
the
same
best
time,
for last type thing.
yeah, but it's like, man, by the time you're sitting there, you're watching all these fights, your adrenaline is spiked and going in, and you're exhausted. I mean, I remember you went before me in my very first fight, and I was so exhausted after that fight.
I was so happy because that was the night it got super cold too.
Yeah.
I was like,
As soon as I got there, got on the mat, I was like, dude, it is freezing now. Like, I was trying to warm up.
dude, my
and
toes were.
I was slipping. I was like, yeah, this is not good. I'm not going to get warmed up.
When
Yeah, I was the first. Was I?
I think you were first or second.
Because they had the pre-card though,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And then I was like the first fight or
Yeah.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like I warmed up while it was still like it wasn't freezing yet,
Yeah.
but it was like still chilly
I
outside.
think you had a little bit of daylight still. Too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then freaking after that, I'm like,
Yeah, I think it was 10:05 when I stepped on the mat, and I was like, "It's cold. Like I'm supposed to be in bed already."
I've never fought
out.
outside like y'all have.
you're trying to warm up in the car.
Yeah, it's a lot different, especially if it gets really cold, because that stuff gets in your lungs.
Have you fought inside yet?
Yeah, the Revolver.
Okay.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Revolver was the first time. It was a much better feeling. And I always am smart enough to go and get. Do y'all get in the cage before your fight just to kind of fill it out?
Yes. Well, I didn't before my last one, but it was only because my opponent got in the cage. So
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna sit in a corner and
Yeah.
watch everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
And he was the whole time he was working on. His partner was shooting in on him, and he was framing, and then like throwing a right hand or something. I was like, I'm not gonna shoot one time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the problem with these amateur things. Is like you have to share. Like I remember Revolver, there was like a little divider, and I remember he had two people there with him. One was hitting pads with him, and the other guy was just watching me hit pads the whole time. I'm just like, dude, what are you doing? And something about DJ now, he likes giving me people who are like instructors, because that guy was a Kimpo instructor, and then this guy I'm fighting is an MMA instructor. He actually owns his own gym, I think in Georgia. It's called Torch MMA. So, yeah, I don't know what it is with DJ and giving me instructors, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's something that freaking
Sounds like
it's been going around for me too.
Yeah, it's like he's giving you these just people. Like I'm just new at this, man.
Sounds like you're the teacher.
Yeah, apparently I'm gonna have to teach somebody.
Yeah.
Else.
Should be your nickname.
Yeah,
Brandon
yeah,
teacher.
the teacher. I am the teacher. Yeah, I'm gonna have to come up with a nickname or.
Oh, you don't have one?
No,
We just gave you one, dude.
I always feel like you shouldn't give yourself a nickname.
Yeah.
Someone should give it to you. So
Yeah, I'm waiting.
You teach kids, don't you?
sometimes I teach them how to mind themselves.
Yeah.
That's
That's it.
Yeah, teach them not to
You
walk
about
up
to do
to
the
you.
same thing in 4 weeks. You're gonna teach them in the octagon.
Yeah, we're going to school, baby.
Let's go.
Yeah, so I'm excited about this. So
I'm excited to come watch too.
Yeah.
So, say again, where is it gonna be?
So it's Cookeville, Tennessee, Revolver, May 16th. I think fights start at 6. And
Is that a Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
It's a Friday. Yeah, so
I'm gonna request off because I want to be there.
yeah, well, hopefully I'll give you a good show.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. So yeah, I'm excited. You know, this is a main event fight. It's a title fight. I don't know how we got here this fast. I thought I had at least a year to put in.
It's faster than you think.
But he came to me after my second fight, and I was like, dude, I don't feel like I earned this title fight.
A lot of it's about timing.
Yeah, and I think it's because I asked him, I was like, you don't have a middleweight champion, do you? He was like, no. And then after that fight, he was like, hey, you want a title fight? I'm like, yeah. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Like, you're not paying me. Give me a belt.
And I'm trying to think, was Josh's fight, was he a co-main event in that against Dustin?
I thought he was the main event.
Yeah, it might have been a minute. It was main event or co-main event. I try to stay as early as possible. Like,
Well, at least in like the past year, this is like our third main event as a team, so it's super cool to see that.
Yeah.
And
well,
I think
Elliot
we're-
was co-main too, right?
That's what-
He was a co.
Mm-hmm.
He
Yeah,
was the
'cause-
co-main?
yeah, he was the co-main at my very first fight.
Yeah, because I remember.
Yeah.
Never mind, it was second.
That was so cool too when he got to hold the belt up and everybody was
Oh, yeah.
chanting for him. It was awesome because I think he got cut open early on, and I was worried they were going to.
Fight was low key close.
Yeah, I thought they were going to stop it, and there was times when I thought he was in danger, and then he came back. There's something about Ilya though. It was like he's hard to
Yeah.
put away.
Like Kimura or
He's hard to
Americana
submit.
got
Yeah,
on.
he's hard to submit. He's hard to put away. So, you know, I'm excited now. If I win this belt, that'll be what 3 of us with belts now. So that'll be would be pretty nice to have.
It'd be Anne Marie.
It'd be 4 because Elliot and Coach has one. Coach Corey.
Do you count the jiu-jitsu belts?
I mean, you're fighting for it, you know, and Corey's not just.
Are you just talking like belts, like in
for the
total,
gym?
like,
For the gym, yeah, I would count jiu-jitsu belts.
Oh, then, yeah, any belt counts.
I mean, Corey is a world champion in striking too, so you know.
So we got, it would be you, Anne Marie, Elliot, and Corey.
Yeah, and we can just knock out jiu-jitsu because I feel like Muay Thai, like Eric's gym, Derek's time is starting to really pick up now because the fighters get more interested in that because, you know, we already have jiu-jitsu world champions. We have plenty of people that run around and do so, even the kids. It's like, my goal is to, like, prove that anybody can do it. So I want, you know, Eric's classes to be more full. You know, I want them to see us winning and doing things and winning titles because
I feel like a disappointment to this class. So I'll come in, I hear about a fight, I'll be like hurt or whatever. I'll be competing like the day before or whatever, and then like not take the fight. And I'm like, I've been doing this for how long, and I'm still not still slacking.
You should definitely be in the title picture.
I've been offered a couple title fights. I was supposed to fight for one in February. I got offered a title fight this weekend.
This weekend?
Yeah. Then they were talking about one.
Somebody must have pulled out.
Yeah, probably. There's one. I think they offered me one the same day as you, and then
that'd be dope.
if I won my last fight, I would have had another one for a different promotion. And then everyone talks to me about it. I just don't want to rush it, so I just. Yeah. I'm not saying no, but it's like just.
Yeah. So that's kind of like your own mental thing is like you're just saying no to belts right now?
I'm just being lazy, honestly.
I don't think running 50 miles in a day is lazy, but, you know, it is what it is.
50 in one day?
That's basically what this guy does.
Well, no, it's been a couple of days. I ran 10, 15 miles the first day.
Yeah.
And then
I remember my first time doing it, I was ahead by I think I was at 50. I was at 39, and you had no miles. And then I looked at it the last week, and it went from you having 0 miles to you having 24 miles, and it was 2 days. I was like, what in the world just happened?
Yeah. And for anybody that doesn't know what they're talking about, our gym does a little running competition, and whoever gets the most miles in a month gets a prize. And these two are usually the ones competing for the top spot.
Yeah, no one else wants to do it. Damien added me just to show me he runs 1.96 miles. It's like you can't even finish the whole two.
Grace?
Does that not irritate you?
I told Grace, she was like, I ran for the first time or whatever. She didn't finish her mile. I was like, finish that mile.
Yeah.
I'll add you back.
I'm calling Damien out. Finish that mile, brother. You already got there. Why are you stopping?
When they first started it, I did it, and I got to 8 miles, and then I realized how far X was, and I was like, yeah, this ain't fun.
Yeah. I just
I like to think I'll motivate him a little bit because he was running the last week.
I go to sleep thinking about you.
Yeah. And then I noticed we were halfway through the month and you already had miles. I was like, okay, he's taking me serious now. Because I said, I know I'm not going to beat him most of the time, but at least I want him to respect me a little bit. So I made sure.
I like seeing the friendly rivalry.
Yeah, I made sure I made him, because I try to run 5 miles every day or at least 5 times a week. So that way I'm always.
I got your picture up on my pull-up bar, just doing pull-ups, looking at you.
I don't have to do that because, Grace kind of tells me what you're doing, so I'm like, okay. And then if I don't see you at the gym, I know you're running, so it's all right, I got to go run.
Or at her house, freaking held hostage.
Hey, man, you got to make the lady happy.
Do y'all's knees never freaking hurt?
Oh, dude, all the time.
I had to change, how I run. And, where I run, so it's normally I'd, try to run this neighborhood.
Yeah.
But, normally I'd have to change my shoes and everything. So, I was running, I was, very heavy-footed and, landing, flat foot. So, I actually had to teach myself how to run.
Yeah.
That's another reason why I'm not trying to compete with y'all. I'm not trying to F my knees up.
Listen, you got to buy the good shoes, too. I didn't have new shoes forever, and then I had to buy these. It was, the first pair of shoes I bought in 5 years because of running. I was like, I got to have good shoes because my feet looked terrible. I had slave feet. They were just blistered and cut. And my wife was looking at them. She was like, ew, which I already don't like feet anyway, but they looked horrible. And then this guy was running all these miles. I was like, I got to buy the gear, get some baby powder and all that stuff. But I don't run outside that much anymore just because of that reason. Like, I feel like it hurts your knees more.
How do you run?
Treadmill, or I'll do like indoor laps somewhere.
Cheater. No.
But once or twice a week, I do run outside. Now that's getting really nice. I run through my neighborhood.
Dude, I almost died. I ran like 10 miles, 2 days ago? And like my allergies, like,
Oh, man.
I was suffocating.
I thought you were about to tell me something about your heart. Because I was running one time and my watch started going crazy because my heart rate got too high. I was like, ooh.
Really?
Yeah, and then there was one time I ran at night and I had my keys on me and I dropped them. And I had to spend 2 hours looking for them. I had to wake my wife up and have her drive me everywhere, and I found them, luckily. Because if somebody would have picked them up, I would have never found them. So, I've learned a lot from running. Don't take your keys with you when you're running.
So I got a couple more questions, I guess, involved with some other stuff. So,
yeah.
After your fight, what's your favorite meal and what's the first meal you plan to eat?
I always, in my mind, I tell myself I'm going to have a nice cold beer and some pizza. But something about after a fight, I don't know what it is, but I don't really have much of an appetite. It's weird.
It's the cut.
What about after your weight cut? Do you have some after you cut weight?
After I cut weight, I usually go ahead and pound in a gallon of water, and then I'll have a protein bar, and then I'll try to eat something light because I ate something heavy before and it made me really sick. But the first 2 days, the weight cut and the day of the fight, I don't really have an appetite, but the next day, I always have like a big breakfast. I'll go to Waffle House and get the chicken melt, the hash brown melt, and I'll load it with onions and ham, double chicken, the cheese, the whole thing, and I'll tear that thing up. But if it's evening time, Marco's Pizza is always good, or tacos. I can eat tacos every day. Tacos are my thing. So that's kind of my go-to. That's about as good as it gets for me as far as like my favorite meal. What is yours?
Like my favorite food to eat?
Like after a fight.
So after a fight, honestly, I'm down to eating. I love food. I put food in front of me.
Tearing it up?
Oh yeah, I'll eat it. But normally, after I do like my little cut or whatever, if I have to diet, it normally takes me about a week to get back on my like normal eating routine.
Yeah.
Or it takes me like 2 to 3 days or whatever. But it still takes me a minute, and then I'm down for whatever.
Yeah.
I see food, it's mine.
What about you?
Pizza.
Oh yeah. You can't go wrong with a pizza. I remember my very first fight, I was like 185.6, and then we were all at the same place. It was for the one in October. Mm-hmm. And I remember I ate so much food that by the time I got home, I was like 201. It was so crazy. And I had just weighed in at 180. It was only an hour and a half drive.
That's
but
crazy.
I smashed.
It's probably excuse me. It's probably that water too.
Yeah, I did. I killed a whole gallon, man. It was so rough. But
do you chug it right after weigh-ins?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta be careful about that.
that could be pretty
dude,
dangerous.
I'm telling you, I love water. Like,
you gotta be careful.
I love water so much after a weight cut. It's like I just want it, just get in me as quickly as possible.
I've had a wrestling teammate have to go to the hospital after a weight cut because
Is it like internal drowning or something?
No, his kidneys started to fail.
Oh yeah, well that would explain the kidney pain.
Yeah. You just gotta pace yourself and then you can start chugging.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard, man.
I know,
like,
you're so thirsty.
I'm so thirsty. Like, I just want to get up there, and then you're, like, staring at a guy in his eyes, and I'm just, like, all shaking because I'm like, that weight cut. I don't want to be here right now.
Right.
Let's get this over with. And then I hear the lady calling my order because I know I ordered food right beforehand. So it's like, let's get this over with. But, yeah, definitely going to be better now because I'm not going to do a big weight cut. So I plan on being smart.
What's something you tell your 8-year-old self and then your 80-year-old self?
8-year-old self, I would say just learn how to wrestle because you're going to need that. And my 80-year-old self, I would say I hate that I lived so long because, man, that sounds terrible.
We can take it down to 60.
Yeah, 60-year-old self.
50 or whatever.
60-year-old self, I'd probably be like, I don't know. I would just probably be like, do you feel like you did enough in this life, I guess? You know, because once you hit 40, it's all really downhill from there. So it's like, did I do enough in my youth, you know? Mm-hmm. That would probably be my saying to my 60-year-old self, my 80-year-old self, I'd just be mad I lived that long. Like, gosh, 75.
What are you doing that?
75, I just want to walk into the woods and just turn to dust, you know. I don't ever want to be in a situation where, because we're fighters, we're not probably going to be walking that much the older we get. So I don't want to ever be in a home. So I have this thing where I'm like, man, 75 has got to be it. Like, I'm going to somehow make myself fade into existence somehow. I'm just going to be laying in bed concentrating on, like, I'm not making it to 76. So, you know, my wife would be angry at me when she hears me say that, but her bloodline lives a long time. Her grandpa just turned 90, and that just sounds miserable to me. It's like 90 years.
Yeah, that does sound like a long time.
Oh, yeah, that's impressive.
Just, that's a long time, because like when you're that old, you have the chance of bearing your own kids, you know, and I don't want to deal with that.
True.
So, and I gotta go before my wife, so that's my rule. Gotta go before her, so she can understand how much I really meant to her, because I do all the cooking. Yeah.
What do you want people to know about you? Is there anything that you want everyone to know about you before your fight and or after your fight?
That I'm very passionate about Jesus. I went through some discipling, and I did it for about 3.5 years with my mentor, and it just ended a couple weeks ago, and now it's my turn to go out and disciple. So it's like, I just feel like God is so important. Like, I remember watching you in your fight, you had your Jesus shirt on. I don't remember exactly what it said, but it's just,
the Lord is my shepherd.
yeah. And it's,
Well, I have so many. That's like my go-tos. I either wear like my Phoenix shirt, and then I have one that says like the Lord is my shepherd. Then I have one that says God's got my back.
that was the one you had on.
So yeah. Those are the two most recent.
Could you explain what you mean by discipling?
So discipling is like, for me, I lost my way for a long time, about 7 years, and then I had a conversation with, I got this job here in, it was Mount Juliet at the time. It was when the tornadoes hit really bad, back in 2020 or 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And met my manager. He was a former preacher, and you know, I had a conversation with him, and it changed my life. It helped me accept the Lord back into my life. And I kid you not, ever since then, like, my wife moved in, you know, we would have kids, marriage, I got a promotion, we bought a house. We bought a house and got a business in the same year, which is crazy. It's like, you need God in your life. And my mentor really discipled me, because what turned me away from God was not understanding the Bible and learning that you got to have the right people teach you. You don't want just anybody to preach to you. So with my discipleship, he helped me study the Bible in a way like I never would have before. Like, you know, learning what the doctrine is and things like that, and what scripture, because you can read a scripture one way and then read it again 5 years later, and it may have a whole different meaning.
Two separate.
Exactly. It's like, you can never, like, there's so many people that read the Bible and they read it their seventh time and they're like, man, I got something totally different out of it this time. So it's like, for me, it was, my discipleship was learning how to properly read the Bible, understand it, and just, you know, grow closer to God to the point where I can now disciple. You know, I plan on doing that, starting with my wife, and then, you know, just finding some person that needs it, you know.
That'd be awesome. That's so cool.
Because God really is real, and he puts you in places in your life. Like, when you think about all the things that happened to you, you either believe God put you where you're supposed to be, or it was all by accident, you know. Like, what are the chances? There's 7 billion people on the planet. What are the chances that y'all two met? You know, y'all both happen to be at the right place at the right time. You know, it's like, you can't, when you get older, you look at life differently. You're like, man, all those failures I had led me to here. If I didn't do this, I wouldn't have had this, you know. Like, when you look back on your struggle, it's like, man, that's God's work right there. He was building you up, because what makes you stronger? You know, you got to break yourself down. You got to go through hard times, and that builds you back up. So that's probably the main thing about me that, like, a lot of people that I need to share more is, like, my love for Jesus, you know. So seeing you with that shirt, man, it just meant so much to me, because it's like, Christian people and godly people, they're very rare to find in the world we are in today. So seeing that was, you know, kudos to you. You know, I know there's different forms of Christianity and all that stuff, but as long as you believe in something, you know, that's what really matters in the end, because people who just believe are here by accident, I don't understand that, because there's just no way to explain. It's easier to me to believe that God did what he did than it is for me to believe that we just happened by mistake, by an accident.
Right.
So my relationship with God is the most important thing to me. So that's probably the biggest takeaway from someone they wanted to know about me, would be that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That like just inspired me. I'm like, I've been trying to go on like my own little rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Trying to stay consistent with that, and every chance I get, trying to spread as much as I can and as much knowledge as I do.
You should.
I think that's the biggest thing people lack, is like the knowledge of it, and then not having the knowledge makes it harder to share. So it's like you have to have the knowledge, and then you're able to share, and then like you're actually informing people on the truth instead of lying to them. Because I feel like a lot of that goes around too, just in general.
And the confidence to be able to say what you say or quote scripture and have confidence in knowing what you're saying is the right way to say it, is because you could say the wrong thing one time and that's all they remember. So when you teach somebody, that's why I've been so nervous to do it, because I know I have to do it the right way. So it's like you cannot prep. You gotta like really get into it and like figure out what you're gonna do instead of plan and all that kind of stuff. So it's awesome though to like be able to talk about that, because we are fighters, but at the end of the day, we're God-fearing human beings. We just want to grow closer to Jesus, because when everything is said and done, when you leave this life behind, that's all you have. You don't get into heaven by your good deeds. You get into heaven by the blood of Christ. And I recently, for Easter, I went and watched King of Kings. It was such a good movie. It had me in tears. Like every time I see Jesus walking across the water in the storm, it just breaks me every time. And then seeing Peter go out to him and he starts sinking because his faith. Yeah. And it just reminds me of myself, because there was a time where I gave up on God and my life was terrible. Every day I was drowning. And that's really what the message is there, is to hold on to your faith, because Jesus is with us always. So it's good to hear that you're into that and that you're teaching people and things like that. Because,
I'm trying to.
Sometimes somebody just needs to hear the words. They could be going through something really bad. And
I try to be that beacon of light, especially if I can. I'm trying to get like. I know, like, I'm not like super verbal, post a lot or whatever. I'm trying to get into that now, so I can become that beacon of light. So people can look at me and like, I'm a God-fearing man. I can teach that to other people, or at least show that to other people, so they can find people who can teach them.
Yeah, Jesus asked us to be the salt of the earth because we preserve it. We're not supposed to destroy it. We're supposed to preserve it, and that's what's really important. So. You guys are getting fighting in Jesus today, so you're welcome.
Amen.
So, yeah.
I don't really have any other questions.
That was my last one.
We ended it with Jesus.
Yeah.
So that's what matters.
Is there anything else you want to add, or like any like shout outs?
Can they like find you on Instagram and stuff?
Yeah, Kimura's Forever. You can find me on Instagram if you want to support me, follow my journey. Also, if you have a child and you're in the Lebanon area, burksacademy.org. You can register there. We're expanding. We're actually looking at bringing our a child care out in this Hermitage area in the future, probably within the next year.
So I'm broke.
Hey, listen. Everybody wants to be a business owner, but I'm telling you, it's not easy. It's hard.
I bet.
Yeah, you eat a lot of eggs.
I think it's hard working for somebody. It's harder working for yourself.
There's
so much accountability.
You don't get the clock out at all. Like, we work every day. I'm there every weekend doing something, fixing something a kid broke. So that, and of course Phoenix MMA, I'm wearing it. And, these two guys.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well,
Phoenix MMA, baby. It's the greatest gym you can go to.
Yes, sir.
What are we? What is it called? The Dagestanian of Mount Juliet. That's for you, Corey. So
appreciate you, brother.